Today is January 10, 2024. Our reflection is entitled Listening and Responding, Answering God's Call. First reading. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 1 to 10 and 19 to 20. During the time young Samuel was minister to the Lord under Eli, a revelation of the Lord was uncommon and vision infrequent. One day Eli was asleep in his usual place. His eyes had lately grown so weak that he could not see. The lamp of God was not yet extinguished, and Samuel was sleeping in the temple of the Lord where the ark of God was. The Lord called to Samuel, who answered, "Here I am." Samuel ran to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." "I did not call you," Eli said. "Go back to sleep." So he went back to sleep. Again the Lord called Samuel, who rose and went to Eli. "Here I am," he said. "You called me." But Eli answered, "I did not call you, my son. Go back to sleep." At that time Samuel was not familiar with the Lord, because the Lord had not revealed anything to him as yet. The Lord called Samuel again, for the third time. Getting up and going to Eli, he said, "Here I am. You called me." Then Eli understood that the Lord was calling the youth. So Eli said to Samuel, "Go to sleep, and if you are called, reply, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" When Samuel went to sleep in his place, the Lord came and revealed his presence, calling out as before, "Samuel, Samuel." Samuel answered, "Speak, for your servant is listening." Samuel grew up, and the Lord was with him, not permitting any word of his to be without effect. Thus all Israel from Dan to Beersheba came to know that Samuel was an accredited prophet of the Lord. Gospel. Mark chapter 1, verses 29 to 39. On leaving the synagogue, Jesus entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Simon's mother-in-law lay sick with a fever. They immediately told him about her. He approached, grasped her hand, and helped her up. Then the fever left her and she waited on them. When it was evening, after sunset, they brought to him all who were ill or possessed by demons. The whole town was gathered at the door. He cured many who were sick with various diseases, and he drove out many demons, not permitting them to speak because they knew him. Rising very early before dawn, he left and went off to a deserted place, where he prayed. Simon and those who were with him pursued him and on finding him said, "Everyone is looking for you." He told them, "Let us go on to the nearby villages that I may preach there also. For this purpose have I come." So he went into their synagogues, preaching and driving out demons throughout the whole of Galilee. The reading from the first book of Samuel unfolds the poignant story of the young Samuel, who, in the quiet of the night, hears a persistent call from the Lord. Initially, Samuel does not recognize the voice of God, but with the guidance of Eli, he learns to respond, saying, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." This passage invites us to reflect on our own ability to discern and respond to the voice of God in the midst of life's noise. In the Gospel of Mark, we witness Jesus' healing ministry, starting with the miraculous cure of Simon Peter's mother-in-law and extending to the healing of many who sought Jesus. Amid the demands and expectations of the crowd, Jesus retreats to a quiet place to pray. His actions underscore the importance of both listening to the Father's will and responding to the needs of those around him. These readings prompt us to consider the intertwined themes of listening and responding. Samuel's receptivity to God's call contrasts with the bustling demands on Jesus, yet both emphasize the necessity of discerning and adhering to God's will. As we navigate our own lives, do we actively listen for God's guidance, and how do we respond to the needs of others around us? Today, I will create intentional moments of silence to listen for God's voice in my life. Just as Samuel responded, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening," I will cultivate a receptive heart, ready to discern God's will. Additionally, I will strive to respond compassionately to the needs of those around me, recognizing that in serving others, I participate in God's ongoing work of healing and love. If you found this video meaningful, I invite you to show your support by hitting the like, subscribe and share button, as this will help us reach more people with these reflections. Together, we can create a community that seeks wisdom and spiritual growth.